Got the emotionally stunted right here. Chronic self-absorbed, self-preoccupied behavior. They think of themselves first, limited or complete lack of empathy, lack of guilt or remorse, disregard for your well-being, safety, and those you love. They do what feels best. They do not learn from past mistakes and continue to repeat behaviors that have negative consequences. Lack of self-reflection, inability to take your perspective, stand in your shoes. History of conflict and drama in relationships. History of denying reality due to effective realism. Reality is what it feels like versus what it is. History of distorting reality, making up new narratives about situations to deal with it. History of impulsive behaviors, more feeling than thinking, so they do what feels best. Enmeshment in relationships instead of emotional intimacy, may focus on physical things versus emotional. They do not do emotional work. They do not know how to repair relationships effectively. Now, I specifically wanted to focus on the distorting reality by making up a new narrative. Or, yeah. History of denying reality due to effective realism, and history of making up new narratives to deal with situations. Lying. That's what that translates to. Lying. Because these people are at war with reality. Specifically, Stu was the biggest offender in this because his clown ass didn't realize I had turned my computer over to the detectives in Ackworth during the homicide investigations. And they found out I liked fat chicks. And Stu kept spinning this narrative that I like skinny women because he's that fucking stupid. Yes. Because he's trying to literally write reality. He's trying to literally fabricate something that simply wasn't true. And cartoonishly, because I am me, I am a real person, and I have my own interests, Stu kept failing at understanding me. That is narrative spinning. He's trying to tell a story that is a lie. And people believe him. One of the weirder things that was really funny with the detectives, they were so accustomed to me going on about fat chicks, and they had apparently interviewed a whole bunch of women that knew I liked fat chicks, to the point that they had more than enough evidence to suggest that Stu was full of shit, and he didn't even realize that, because he's that fucking stupid. Okay. It is funny how liking fat chicks saved my ass. The other side of this is when these guys murdered the Black Lives Matter leaders, I kept telling everybody, right up until I forgot, from having heavy metal poisoning, all the heavy metal they put in my brain, to the cadmium destroying my brain, that I needed chelation therapy, and nobody gave it to me. And these retards and their balls to call you entitled after they fuck you up is just fucking phenomenal, but the shit that came from that was just even stupider because I think, if I had to guess, because I am a former president, I think the ideal was, with the Black Lives Matter leaders getting executed, was I was supposed to turn myself in for being the guy that fucking hired them, which I would have done if I was in my current state. Believe it or not, if I had a fully functioning brain and I got into this with Anal Eating Mummy God, yes, the guy lies, because he went on a thing telling me he knows for a fact I'm a coward and I wasn't going to turn myself in, and there is no other way around that I was gonna fucking not like, and we had a back and forth, and I didn't understand what was going on because I didn't remember any of this. And first of all, you're dealing with somebody who needs chelation therapy, needs trauma therapy, I need so much shit, and yet I am denied all of it, and that just pisses me the fuck off. Meanwhile, there's some rich crackers out in the fucking Utah desert that is handed this stuff, and they're gonna tell you need to earn it. If we lived in a just world, I'd make sure you people had nothing. And that's not a joke. Fucking, we don't. You're lucky in that. I needed chelation therapy, and every one of these assholes they poisoned me with aluminum to turn me into a coward, and then started telling people I was a coward. Narrative spinning. And I keep thinking about that wish, and I am definitely going to wish that every member of the church kills themselves. I do not care what situation I end up in. All of you dead. You guys don't understand how far off the rails and how pure fucking evil you are, okay? The fact that every church leader every serial killer in America is just crazy, okay? That is insane, alright? The fact that you guys just murder, and then zero accountability, and then run screaming, and then there's no punishment or disciplinary action taken against you is stupid, okay? On every level. The ridiculous injustice that was dealt to me, and then you people just go, that's how that is. I don't care. I don't care. Fuck you. How's that sound? Like, but this was another narrative that was spun. And then after I had a conversation, I remember the call from Anal Eating Mummy God where he was like, ring, ring, ring. So there's this guy that likes lying about being brave and how he doesn't let fear make his decisions. And because he's a liar, we're going to kill him. And I was like, this isn't the same guy you poisoned until he was retarded with heavy metals, so his brain functions differently. And then you wanted him to do something he couldn't do because you messed up his brain to begin with. And then he was like, stop doing that. Stop doing what? And he was... It doesn't matter if we poison you with heavy metals. It doesn't change anything. I don't believe he's that stupid. I think he's just this fucking evil. Okay. I literally believe he's just this evil. Because I replied with, are you certain? Because I looked it up online and it says certain heavy metals can alter people's minds. So who was this guy and what did you do to him? And he would give me a minute, and he hung up, and then he called back, and he's like, we're not going to kill you. But it doesn't matter if you're poisoned with heavy metals. I was like, that sounds great. You should poison everybody in your church with heavy metals. No! And he hung up. When people do that, it is because they're full of shit. Okay. If you ever have anybody go, oh, I think that's good for you, and then you look them in the face and go, do it yourself, and they immediately go, those are not your friends. They're just trying to hurt you, and they're trying to cause suffering for suffering's sake. I remember these other things. They're hazy at best. There were other attempts the FBI made to arrest me, and I think they might have been related to losing the church its tax-exempt status, because I think that's what the end goal was. The issue was stupid people were trying to drag a person whose brain was not fucking working. Okay. And they thought by keeping me stupid, this was going to make the situation easy when it made it hard. Because I believe these people are that fucking dumb. I don't think I would argue that there's this guy that talks about how we live on the shoulders of giants and how like our modern technology comes from big brains, people that are way smarter than us, but there's an army of stupid people usurping it, and I would argue maybe even at this church they don't even realize how powerful their bullshit is, like the poisoning of the heavy metals and how it alters situations, and how Blondie, poisoning people with heavy metals doesn't hurt him. He's that retarded. I believe he actually believed that sentence. I think he's that fucking retarded. And I think it was the same thing with Anal Eating Mummy God. I think he recognized on some level that he's got to recognize he's an imbecile, because that dude, how the fuck do you call somebody and then I just explain to you the common sense of the situation and then you just hang up? Like, I needed chelation therapy, and I want to get into that shit. Imagine if, like, Superman came back to Earth and was like, I just saved everybody, but I have a piece of kryptonite jammed in my abdomen, and I just need somebody to take it out because I'm too weak to do it. And everybody was like, no, Soup, you're fine, man. You're really awesome. We're not going to help you. no, we're not gonna. Everybody just ignored him, and then Superman died, and then everybody got mad that Superman died because nobody helped him. Okay. Does that sound stupid to you? Because that sounds stupid to me. I'm reminded of Blondie, who had this sideways. They can't speak straight. They have to speak sideways, which is something that pisses me off. But this video's about narrative spinning. I'm gonna try to focus on that. So Stu tried to spin this narrative that didn't work because I just didn't fit his description, and then the church after that ran this massive smear campaign against me, calling me a liar, which I'm not, calling me like all these fucking things that were just completely fucking absurd. Well, they tout that they tell the truth 100%. They don't. It's a lie. Everything they do is a work. They can't help themselves. The biggest thing a liar wants you to believe is that they tell the truth 100%. I tell the truth to the best of my abilities, okay? These jackasses straight up lie to your face and then lie again and then bring misinformation and spin narratives. I remember Gannon showing me one of the other guys the church was torturing because Gannon didn't like him because he said words Gannon didn't like, and just like the mindless retards they are at this church, they follow Gannon's lead. These people, because they're garbage people, had Gannon, like, Gannon was showing me videos that were taken out of context of this guy saying things, and I could tell by the guy he was acting a lot like I do in my videos, where he was impersonating other people, and once I figured that out, Gannon didn't like that I was pointing out he was lying, to which he kept telling me, it's not lying, it's not lying, it's not lying, and then he responded with, if you tell a lie about history enough, it becomes the truth. So if I tell a lie and I was just, Gannon, if somebody did that to you, how would you react? And he's, shut up. Immediately. Oh, you're not going to do it to me, but I'm going to do it to other people. And then one of the rules at this church is do unto others as they do to you. Why aren't you down with people just spreading misinformation about you and lying? You tell me. Sounds like you don't follow your own rules. Maybe you should be better with that. This is the thing with these people. They don't listen to their own rules. So, yeah, this is the issue with narrative spinning is if you got good detectives, they're going to figure out something's amiss. And they quickly found out, one, I was a country bumpkin with no skills, and I didn't know any of the shit that Stu claimed I did know how to fucking do. I remember at one point the guys sat down with me, and I guess there was some gun or some shit involved. And obviously there was, because Stu has a firearm. He's a police officer. And they asked me about weapon safety and gun uses. And I agreed to let them search my room. And my parents refused to let them search the house, which was really stupid. And then they got annoyed and left. But I assured them I don't own a firearm. And I don't own a firearm. So, and this created a whole bunch of twists and turns, because this is what happens when you narrative spin. You're lying. And even after this, I remember, even now, there's a smear campaign. They run around with a video they made of me and a baby and fucking just run around telling people, like, I'm a pedophile and all this shit. When you're talking to these people, you're talking to the pedophile. Okay? Dude, and the whole thing is, I don't want to be held accountable for my actions. That is the end game of this church, is I do not want to be held to account for my actions. So I am willing to do anything under the sun to make sure that I never get my comeuppance. Okay. Once again, I don't get how you can be this pure fucking evil. Like, and think that there is some good in your afterlife. Like, Holy shit. Yeah. The failure is just astronomical. Once again, narrative spinning is basically just making up a new story about a situation, and all their narratives involve cucking you with their shit because they're not going to be held accountable for what they did. Stu is not going to be held accountable for murder. Gannon's not going to be held accountable for murder. It's going to be everybody else. You did it, you did it, you did it, and if you ever did that to them, they murder you. Because they don't do accountability to that level. And murder is their favorite tool. Okay, murder is their favorite tool. They love murder. Yeah, that is all.